waiting for YouTube. Come on, YouTube. All right, we are live. Hi, everybody. This is Johnny. We're here with MDI. Been doing this for about 14 times now so far, and today we have a really, really great friend of mine. We call him the younger version of me, Jason Wang. So he's here with us. Say hi to everybody, Jason.
What's up, everybody? Also known as TLDR Filmmaker if you're watching this on YouTube.
Yep. So we have people slowly coming in right now. So why don't you talk about yourself a little bit so we can fill out the time and gap?
Cool. So I didn't start out in filmmaking in the beginning. I've always had an interest in film since high school. And this was before the days of DSLRs that we can just go ahead and buy and shoot really awesome 4K videos. Like, I think this is probably when mini DV tapes were still quite popular. But yeah, I got into filming because I started off as a dancer first and got injured, tore off my left Achilles, and couldn't do anything. And Captain America 2 was filming in Cleveland at the time, and I took my chances in trying to get onto the set as an extra, and I did. And I don't know, I was only supposed to work for 3 days, and they just kept inviting me back because they said, you do really well as a background extra. You keep doing the same thing over and over again, so we want you to come back. And from then, I just got completely addicted to filmmaking and wanted to learn more about it. And so
cool. I mean, lots of background actors will actually follow orders. I heard. So, okay, keep going. Sorry.
All right. And then at some point in time, I was introduced to Johnny. And Johnny pretty much was, he gave me my first acting role in his Doctor Who fan film, Trace. And at that point in time, I really wanted to be an actor first and trying to do some stunts, got to do some fights with not Matthew. Oh, shoot. Who played Agent 577? Justin. Yeah, sorry. We got to do a lot of fight choreography with Justin, and it was just really interesting to finally see like how an independent film set worked, because I never been on one. And back then Johnny was using, oh man, we didn't have the GH4s back then yet. I think we were shooting with a Canon.
Yeah, Canon XL1.
Yeah.
5D, 3 5D and 1 XL1.
Yeah. And it was just, I mean, as an actor, it was fun because I got to see them set up everything. We did some green screen in the original pilot episode. And then Johnny kind of just like took me under his wing and did even more stuff as we finished off the series. And we've made 3-4 films now together? 4 feature films?
I think so.
Yeah. But it's been...
Project Usha.
Yeah.
It's a million.
Yeah. So, yeah, quite a few different features, all action-based, which is awesome. But we also did a lot of... Each one was shot very differently. And I think that's just something that's been very helpful to see like how to approach each different feature film. Because Johnny, being a director himself, like he has a much different vision that sometimes I have to think about what he wants and how to achieve it. And then Maximilian Keith has his own ideas of what he wants. So as I've been doing these independent feature films, I've been learning even more and more about how to achieve certain looks. And then, started YouTube and am just able to kind of try to express those ideas, especially when it comes to equipment. Equipment is something that we can get really lost in because there's just so many options out there. And I think one of the awesome things that we did as an indie team is that we have great cameras, we have equipment, but we're always trying to like figure out how to stretch them as far as we can go. Because Johnny, he was the first one to introduce me to gimbals way, way back in the days. Like if you guys are just in the gimbal market now, like poor Johnny had to, like, just to balance everything, you had to unscrew certain parts and screw it all back together. And you couldn't just calibrate it in the remote or your smartphone app.
Back in the day, there's no toolless gimbals. So those are really, really painful. We got Wayne and Aaron. Aaron said 4 degrees of Johnny Woo. Don't even need a 6. joining to say happy birthday to me. Thank you, George. I'm sorry, keep telling your story. I like to hear the stories.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't want to have anything to do with gimbals back then because of watching Johnny just spending hours trying to get it to work. And, I was just like, oh man, I don't think I would ever want to do gimbals. But now, like, gimbals are so streamlined. You can just have gimbals for everything you can possibly think of. And it's so easy to use now compared to what Johnny had to do back then. So that's what I mean by like just taking equipment that we had and trying to stretch it as far as we could go. Because nowadays we can take the most basic of equipment very, very far. You just have to like think about how you want to incorporate it, how you want to use it. What kind of look are you going for? It's really about what kind of look do you want? Not, I know that it's supposed to be a 5K HMI to achieve this look. You can achieve it in other ways too. You just have to really think outside the box. And that's just something that this team has been able to do constantly.
Yeah, I remember back when I started, we used, the 1Ks, 2Ks, 5Ks lights, heavy duty, super hot, not LED. I hated them so much. I really do not like to carry them around. Until now, we have LEDs now? Kind of crazy.
Yeah, all LEDs. I don't think there's one tungsten light that we use in our team's kit ever.
He just joined. He said he also hated gimbals at first.
Yeah, gimbals were just they were not friendly. And DJI, for some people now, like DJI, Mozua, Feiyutech, Pilot Fly, these companies were not around when we started.
Yeah. So I remember because we were shooting the first episode of Trace, and you're watching me trying to fix the cable get broken on the middle of the shoot just because all the wires all over the places.
Yeah.
So that took about an extra hour and they had to figure out, and they were like, screw that, no more gimbal.
Yeah, for a while too. I think it wasn't until the first couple versions from Came TV was when it's...
the first couple version Came TV, the 7,000, 7,500 were all not toolless. And then after that, was slowly become the toolless one.
Yeah.
It got better and better every minute.
It got better and better. And actually, one of my favorite ones, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like this really mini version. It was really tiny.
Oh, not from Cam, right?
It was from Came TV. It might have been just called the Mini, I think.
I think it's a Mini, yeah. It's so adorable.
It was so tiny, guys. Like, it doesn't exist anymore. But it was so tiny. And one time we were at it wasn't Horror Hotel. It might have been the Indie Film Gathering Film Festival. And we were showing off these gimbals. It was so tiny that I would hold onto the top handle and I would walk around it in circles. And it would just stay there because it was just so small.
Yeah, it was fun. It was our time. Wayne is here. There's already a question here from James Barney. He asked, other than gimbals, what is another must-have piece of equipment that you like to use on a film?
Oh, okay. Another must-have equipment on a film. I want to give like a really interesting answer, but unfortunately, I think the must-have equipment is lights. You need lights for your cameras. And the reason I'm saying this is because even though cameras are getting even better with their low light performance, the truth of the matter is when you're moving around those ISO ranges to compensate for that exposure, you're really changing how that sensor is actually determining what's considered a highlight, what's considered a shadow. And some cameras have dual ISO. And once you hit that dual ISO, it kind of resets depending on which camera brand you're using. So I would say it's the must-have is some sort of lights. And the reason also is because not only are you not compensating with ISO, but you can start crafting a lot of looks for your actors. And that's what you want to do. Like, you want to make sure the actors look good. You want to make sure the camera's able to get everything so the picture looks good. If you're moving the camera around, then the lighting has to change depending on where you're going. And some of the best ones out there today are just cheap LED panels because like Johnny said, he used to deal with 1Ks, 2Ks, 5Ks, like all these really hot tungsten lights. And even when we were starting off 5 or 6 years ago, LED panels were very expensive and the colors were not that great either. And you couldn't use Sony MPF batteries. You had to use V-mount batteries, and you could only power them for maybe 30 minutes or maybe up to an hour. So now we have all these really, really, we have small ones like the Pilotfly Atom Cube. Yep, that one, the one Johnny's holding, the Pilot Cube RX1. And we have some bigger ones like the Neewer 600 and the 660s, and then we have even bigger ones. And the great thing is you can use Sony MPF batteries. You can put a little softbox in front of it, and then you can literally either have someone really tall, sorry, Nick, to hold the light, or you can just use a really cheap little stand that's not a seat stand because they're not that heavy. Yeah. And again, your camera is so sensitive today. You can probably go up to ISO 800, f2.8, maybe f2 or something like that. And in a general situation, you'll be able to get your exposure. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's also the cheapest way to go, because we all know those really sensitive cameras are super expensive, all the way up to $4,000 for like the Panasonic S1H. And that does really well in low light. But honestly, just get more lights, get a decent camera around $1,000 to $2,000 if you really want to, but you can get a cheap one too, but the lights is what's going to do you. So I know that was a really long story, but
I mean, I can feel it, because when we shot two for the final battle sequence, it's all nighttime, and we didn't have any lights around. We only have lights above on the trees, and we have the camera set in 2500 ISO. And it works really well, and there's no grain whatsoever. It looks really clean too. I was very impressed. Obviously, you need to know your camera too. You can't just set that a certain way and shoot it. We shot in HLG in 10-bit, so that may also do a lot of work on that. So, being all the different roles you play, you're the actor, you're a director, you're an editor, you're a DP, you're also a dancer and singer. Which one of those 6 things that you do, besides YouTuber, you like the most?
I would have to say, basically, I think dancing and director of photography. And those two kind of play hand in hand a little bit. If you guys check out any of the trailers for our films and you watch how we shoot our action sequences, Keith actually said it one time. He's like, he watched me use the camera for certain fight scenes, and Johnny has seen me do this too for, I think the most recent one that I did it for was Wuxia 2 for the bar fight scene. You literally watch me dance the camera around the actors, into the actors, because I'm memorizing the fight choreography at the same time. So when I'm saying dancing and director of photography is because to me, they're almost very similar in how I'm approaching each one. Obviously, dancing is more internal. It's myself with my other fellow dancers that are around me. But when it's a director of photography, like once I light up everything and I'm filming the action scene, now I become part of the scene, kind of like a dancer, but now I'm using the camera to move around. And that's just something that I'm really happy that I was able to kind of merge the two things together and try to develop something that's, I guess, pretty unique with how we shoot fight scenes.
I actually like it. I mean, the trailer we have for the Wuxia, which is not going to call Immortal Combat The Code, have lots of you using the camera with no gimbal, moving around. A lot of people actually, when they watch it, they thought they were actually used with gimbals. I said, no, that's Jason dancing around with the whole thing, with camera. And that's about it. It's part of the set.
Yeah, literally. And it's just more fun. You know, I know a lot of people, you know, the common thing to hate is shaky cam. And that's obviously something that we don't like either. Yeah. And, you know, while the footage is pretty smooth, it kind of gives you that quote unquote shaky cam feeling because the camera is moving so close inside the scene. So it's shaky, but it's not shaky, if that makes sense.
I can see your whole face moving around.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not that. I think camera movement is what I'm trying to say. It moves in the fight, not shaking to artificially make the fight look like it's moving.
So Wang got a question here for you. He said you have worked with other directors as well as direct yourself. what was the biggest lesson learned from working on Johnny Woo, Keith, and then in your own project E1337?
Okay. The biggest lesson that I learned, because I worked on my film as a director first before going over to Keith and Johnny's film as part of the director of photography unit. So what I learned the most for me, every plan that you have does not matter until you get onto the set. Like you can plan for days, you can have everything, you can have all your ducks in a row in your brain, but until you get onto set and you have the people and the talent, the crew in front of you and the location, it doesn't matter. Specifically speaking, a lot of the times, even on Keith's film and Johnny's film, whether or not I told them this, I honestly didn't really know what the movie was going to feel like, be like, or what the main intention was.
You told me a lot of time. You told me that you never read the script. So
oh yeah, that too. So I never read the script, and the reason is because it's like if I read it, then I'm gonna start getting an idea of what I think it's gonna be like. But I don't know the actors. I didn't meet them. I don't know how they move. I don't know how they look when they have all their costumes on. I don't have a super clear idea of what the location is going to act like once you put a camera lens on it. So basically, I tried to just understand, okay, there's tension here. There's a fight scene here. These two guys will be talking. I was like, okay, that's all I want to know. Because then after I set up everything, Johnny, he'll be doing his director stuff and I'll be like, does this look good? He'll be like, yes. And then they'll do a walkthrough. This is where the magic happens for me as a director or photographer, is I love watching the on-location walkthroughs, because when you see it, you see how the actors are reacting to the environment around them, because now they're in character. They got all their costumes on. They got the dramatic lighting if we have it. Maybe there's an action moment. And when you see all of that through the camera, then you start having an idea of what can you pull from this specific scene. Because if I try to plan this without ever seeing it, it's not going to work.
Isn't that similar to like on stages, performance dancing stages or so? You always have a walkthrough and what do you call those?
Tech rehearsal.
Thank you. Tech rehearsal. So everybody know what's going on. So they know exactly where to pinpoint the light, the shot light, the headlights, the lights, all the settings, everything else.
Yeah.
The music, everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those rehearsals are extremely important. Yeah. Because as a dancer too, even though you've been practicing the dance for months and then you're performing it that day or you're getting into tech rehearsal, like at that point you have all the costumes, you have all the sceneries, you have the music really playing, you're in a much bigger space, which changes your orientation of how you move. And then the magic for a performer is the day you have audiences sitting in front of you. That changes so much. You get this adrenaline rush. You suddenly get this different feel for the character. And then, depending on how you control it, again, that's where the magic happens. So, there's your connection between how those work.
How is it to translate? Because you also have your original background is on stage.
Yeah.
So how do you translate your information from the stage to film?
In terms of as an actor or as
an actor or as a director, because now you know what's going on with the actor, so you know how to direct them very easily.
Okay. I think all the training that I've had on the stage it's very much like a film set. So a dance can't be segmented. Everybody has to do their job, from the dancers to the lighting crew, the stage crew, and back. Like everyone has to do exactly the right thing at the right time. And as a filmmaker, you kind of have to do that too. So I don't necessarily know if there's necessarily a translation, rather that both of them are pretty much the same. Like you just have to make sure you can get everyone on the same page so that they can execute everything at the exact right time.
I always look at stage like filming a film in green screen, because your audience always say it's in one direction only. Whereas camera, you can set it all around it.
Oh yeah, that is something that I love about filmmaking is we can change the audience's perspective. Exactly. And not only just change their perspective of the action, but as a director or photographer, a lot of the times I am wondering what is the best focal length to show this. And that's something that I think people need to dive into more, because a 24 millimeter look for an action sequence looks very different than a 50 millimeter look. And I'm really not excited, curious. I'm curious as to like which one serves the better purpose. So I'll give you two examples. For Keith's, for what do they call it now? Assassin's Game. For Assassin's Game or Maximilian, a lot of the action sequences where I was using the camera was generally shot at the 40 millimeter look. And I don't necessarily know why I chose 40 millimeters specifically. It just looked fine to me. But when we shot Immortal Combat
The Code.
Immortal Combat The Code, I actually stayed a lot more towards 35 millimeters and sometimes a little bit to 30 millimeters. And it all really depended on what the locations were, because Immortal Combat The Code was shot a lot outdoors. There was a lot of outdoor elements, but there was a couple elements that were indoors. So because it was outdoors and I wanted to make sure we could see a little bit more of what was not around the people, but above the people. There's this really awesome part where the main character is just running through the forest. And instead of, using an 85 millimeter to a 135 millimeters and just getting that depth of field that's all crushed out and trying to follow him as he's frantically running through the forest, I chose, let's do a wider angle shot and let's get these trees, these really super tall trees, and try to get that look into the shot. I don't think there was one shot in that specific sequence that had really shallow depth of field. We were really trying to make it look like he was in this huge forest.
Right.
So for Maximilian, he was inside a warehouse the whole time. Yeah. And in that case, I didn't want to show the vastness of the warehouse. I more or less wanted to focus on the fighters themselves and try to make this place look a little bit more industrial and gritty. So 40 millimeters for that specific area looked better for what it is that we were going for.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was trying to think. It's like, was there a whole point of what I was trying to say? Perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. I rant a lot.
That's fine. We do have 14 viewers between YouTube and Facebook, so that's kind of not bad.
Oh, wonderful.
There's a screenwriter, MV. He got this question, but we already know the answer. Do you plan to write a script and direct it? Or do you prefer to have someone else write the script you direct?
Oh. I generally would prefer to write and direct. And that's only because that's the only... Oh, no, I take that back. I actually like both. I prefer to write it and direct, but I actually like both. And part of this is like I was lucky. I was extremely lucky to work with Johnny already with his film. And then I already knew Keith because of that specific film, Trace. And then Keith worked on my film. And then we all just work on each other's films. Yeah. So I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled in the fact that I already know. I know, I'm sorry. I'm spoiled in the fact that I already know Johnny and Keith very, very well. So when they tell me something, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I get it. So even though I didn't write those screenplays and helping them, it's almost like I can help them direct what they want through visually. But if I had to choose, I would prefer to write and direct because of being a director of photography and director and screenwriter. Merging all those three, I can try to get the production to move much quicker because I already have everything planned in a certain way.
On that subject, talk about your project E1337 because you wrote, you direct, you edit, and you do almost everything.
Yes.
How was the experience? Tell us the experience you had.
That experience is the best learning experience I could have put myself through. It was the most stressful experience I ever put myself through. And Johnny was executive producer on it. And he had told me, you might want to try to divvy out some of these because that's a lot of things to tackle. Yeah. And I'm stubborn. He knows this about me. Johnny knows that I am a very stubborn person. And I told myself, I am going to do everything. And the reason is I need to know what someone goes through. I didn't know what a colorist goes through. I didn't know what a sound designer goes through. I had to learn all of that. And now that I went through it myself, and now I can comfortably say, I don't want to have anything to do with sound design because it is so much work, and I don't enjoy it as much as probably someone else does. So I am totally happy to delegate that to somebody else. But also it's this, and this is something that I think you guys should try to experiment, maybe not on a feature film level, because that really did take a lot out of me, but do it for a short. Learn every position. Because if you can do it and you understand it and you know what someone has to do it, as a director, you're going to be able to set it up in such a way so that the people that have to do post-production is so much easier for them. Right. And the case in point for Johnny and Keith, when they tell me about the fight scenes and they're telling me about like how they wanted to progress and how a certain scene is supposed to progress, I'm thinking for them not only as a director of photography to get the look, but I'm also thinking for them as an editor because they edit most of that themselves. So what I do is I give them shots that just cut seamlessly together so that they look at it, they're like, oh, I can pick this one or I can pick this one, whatever one, they can just pick whatever one they want. And instead of just shooting a bunch of things without thinking like an editor. So because of that experience, I felt like I was able to think faster for what they wanted for their movie so that we didn't have to wonder how we're going to do it. We could just do it because I already could see certain things that's going to help them out in post.
Keith also mentioned that he commended you, Jason, for taking all of those roles on your first project. But you know what, Keith? You did almost the same thing with your first project, Maximilian. I mean, he took a lot on his shoulder.
He did a lot. And
I think he's doing the same thing with Rumble TV.
Yeah, probably. And this might just be, maybe we're all just stubborn to a certain degree.
Well, it's our, I guess, our nature because it's our baby, a project, and we want to make sure that they actually go out well enough to be able to get distributed or all over the places. So tell us about a little bit about your process of writing your project E1237. Do you also storyboard it?
I did not storyboard it specifically. The process. Yep, that was my dad. The process of writing that story, it was supposed to be a web series originally, and then it just a feature film was just a better way to do it. So when it comes to my writing process, it's changing. It's changing now because of 1337. But the original concept was I gave myself a world to build from. So in that specific world, there's some sort of bacteria that gets into your eyes. And if it gets into your eyes, you go blind. It's also hereditary, genetic. Like it's just the worst possible thing you could possibly want roaming around. And that built what I needed. Because I asked myself, well, how are people going to react to this? How are people in higher power going to react to it? So I started asking those questions. I keep asking questions and questions and questions until I get to, who are my characters that are going to portray these moments? And then, try to figure out scenarios to make the story go along. But now it's changing because that story, I realize now that I wrote it like an anime, that there's a lot of different characters to follow. Because if any of you guys out there watch anime series, it's not ever one character. There's like 15 different characters on the good side and the bad side. So I didn't realize that I was writing it like that. So to a certain degree, if I wrote it today, like rewrote it, there would be a lot of changes because it's hard to introduce that many characters, that many storylines in a a 75-minute feature film, 80-minute feature film. It's just really hard to do that. That's why anime series are as long as they are, is because they have so much to go, or TV shows.
Right.
They can go that far. So nowadays, I'm starting to write films that are more centrally focused on maybe one or two characters. And, I can't wait to hopefully get into those films as well at some point.
I'm assuming that you're doing your next one next year?
That's the plan. That's the plan. We'll see what happens.
Yep. I'm very sure I myself am going to draw everything and just help you out. I'm very sure Kate will do the same thing. So this way, next year will be all yours.
Oh, great. Thank you.
So Nick said the same thing. He also feel like he do it a lot by himself. He just a lot of things on his shoulder.
Yeah.
So the same way too. James Barney. Okay, this is a good question. Since he already asked this question, we're going to go into the YouTubing part of it.
Okay.
He's asked. He's old and he's not really a YouTuber. What can we expect to see from Jason on YouTube? Educational, entertaining, and such.
Okay. So for right now, I'm focused on education, teaching, and I try to teach through my gear reviews. So my little spiel is that I'll give you all the answers you want right in the beginning that I think you want. So let's say we're looking at an LED light. How long does it last on batteries? How powerful is it? All these things that people generally want to know. And then we get to the learning portion, which I usually lose about half the people. Half the people don't want to listen to that last part. And I love teaching because I feel like we all have these ideas of what is considered the must-go-to setup. So at one point in time, it was the A7S is the best camera because it's full frame. You can see in low light. You can do all this stuff with it. And so everyone, was thinking about that. And I was like, well, does it really fit exactly what you need it for? Because Johnny, me, and Keith at one point, we all have GH4s and GH5s. We went to the Panasonic camp, and I love the Panasonic camp. But most people say, no, get the Sony. I said, the only reason I would get the Sony is if I was a wedding filmmaker or an event filmmaker or a documentary filmmaker. And they're just like, really? I was like, yes, that's what I believe that tool is going to be best at. Because of its full frame, you get that nice, gorgeous depth of field control. You also get a lot of great high ISO performances. And the lenses you want, you can use vintage lenses, super cheap these days. You can get some good electronic lenses. The A7 III is a great camera for its price point, 4K. It's got pretty much everything you would want, and it would make your documentaries look very, very nice. But for us, we needed something very robust, and the GH5 provided us for that for three feature films. For three feature films, we used the GH5, and Johnny will tell you, we used it through snow. Even in my film, we used it through snow. We used it through rain, torrential rain.
And mud.
Like we did not baby these cameras. They were out there in the elements, and they performed extremely well. I would be very scared to try to use my Sony in the exact same environment. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying about this is, sorry if I went off topic, I love to teach because I like to go against the ideas that people are saying, where the GH5 and the Sigma 18-35 with a speed booster is exactly the best combination. And I made a video stating you probably don't need that speed booster and I tell you exactly what scenarios you have to be in to even justify the speed booster to be part of your kit. Because that is $650 that if you don't have to spend it, kind of going back to the first question, what is the most essential thing on a film set? Lights. $650 worth of lights can get you really, really far.
Yep.
So education is what you can expect from me on YouTube.
Because my background is marketing, so I know for a fact all the camera you go there, all the different things gear wise, they all have a certain marketing terms. They sell it. It does not mean that it's actually good for everything. There's everything for something else. They're all tools. It's all about the director or the filmmaker to make it happen. So I'm going to show some pictures that we done because a lot of things that we're talking about here is all related to your project and all the different projects you work with.
Mm-hmm.
But before I go that far, where can we see Project E1337 right now?
Where or what?
Where can you see the movie right now?
Oh, where can you see it?
Yes.
Right now, I believe it's still on Amazon. You just type in Project E1337 and Alpha. It's a really crazy long name. And I'm slightly regretting it a little bit, but you know what? It makes sense.
At least they didn't change the name like every other movie names we have.
You know, that's true. I'm surprised that they didn't change the name.
I mean, even the movie got changed from Maximilian to Assassin's Game, which coming out June 16.
June
You
16th.
can actually buy it on Amazon Prime right now for video. It's
Mm-hmm.
very cheap, which kind of surprised me too. Why they
Yeah.
market that low? And
Yeah.
then might come out in winter time this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it is still in Amazon. Somebody, I'm a Brown. I'm the Brown. I'm the Brown said.
Hey, I'm the Brown. Yeah. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
So the key is on Amazon. We also have other people there. Wayne also shared the link already.
Oh, thank you, Wayne. Thank
Wow,
you.
geez, that was fast. Oh yeah, he showed the link about the TLDR filmmaker. That's actually really good. When did you start the website? I mean, I know that you have a website for yourself that you
Yeah.
do your yearly. We can't wait to see Christmas shows.
Oh yeah, the Christmas shows. Yeah.
And then you have your own TLDR filmmaker, which is for everybody to learn about educational stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you start the TLDR? Because you want to educate people and want to show them the perspective, but you didn't kick off until last year, right?
I started 2.5 years ago. So
Okay.
yeah,
8.
2018, February of 2018 was when I started. And my first video was the Viltrox EF M2 adapter. And the reason, again, the reason I wanted to review that one first was because it was directly going against the Metabone Speed Booster. It was like $213 versus $650. And I was like, okay, if this is going to work as good as I hope it's going to work, then this is going to save people a lot of money. Yeah. So that was one of my first videos under the TLDR Filmmaker brand.
And that one channel had grew really, really big. I mean, all the different companies are sending you stuff and asking you to review them. Your subscriber increased really, really fast. And congratulations. That's actually a fun place. So when we have a question, even myself, if I have a question, certain things I don't even know about, I just go there first to check it out. Quickest way to do it. I don't do the research anymore. I just go to Jason's channel and go see it.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go show some pictures. You can tell us about all the story about that.
Cool. This would be like Explain That Graham on Hot Ones, First We Feast. Which, by the way, First We Feast, if you ever see this, I really want to get onto your show. I know I'm not like a celebrity by any means to be on your show, but I really would love to go on your show.
That can happen.
All right.
So tell us a little about this.
So this was in Trace. We were filming one of the final action sequences, and I'm showing you my middle finger right now is because I accidentally ginked myself on my stunt sword. I don't know how I did it. We finished the scene and I looked at my finger. I was like, oh, I cut myself somehow. Huh, okay.
So let everybody know, all the swords we use in the fight sequences were all very sharp.
All the swords were metal. And I don't have it with me here, but if you look at my sword, my stunt sword that's somehow survived the entire ordeal, it's completely serrated because of how, like, we were actually hitting each other, but we trained with dowels. So
yeah,
this is me with Justin from the very first episode, and that's his sword, that's my sword. I don't really know why we were holding it that way. I think it was actually just
for the porting back in, I believe.
Oh, that might be it. Yeah, it might have been a porting shot.
Yeah, so that way to continue to shoot.
All right. Some people nowadays, people have realized that I actually dance, because at this point in time, not a lot of YouTubers knew that I danced until I released my video to help dance instructors during this time where we have to teach from home. So this is me. Very young version of me. I don't actually remember what year this was. It's probably like late 2004 or 2005. But yeah, that is me literally balancing on the tip of my elbow to get this shot. This is from, it's a hit, no, not Hitman. Is it Hitman?
Yeah, it's Hitman. It's Hitman.
I can't remember what it was called though.
Jeremy Davis.
It was Jeremy Davis's film.
Keith, can you remember? Since you're on the chat and listening to us.
Oh crap! I'm so sorry.
Redemption.
Was it Redemption?
I think there is Redemption.
Okay, I'm sorry, Jeremy. You're going to probably say it, but yeah, this is us in an abandoned astronomy building, or astronomy. And I was another stunt actor for this one, and you see me die many, 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 many different times.
Contract Redemptions. I knew
Contract Redemption. Yeah, that's right.
You want to give the answer? Great.
I'm sorry, Jeremy. I'm very sorry. Okay, this is from Project E1337, the concept short, not the actual feature film. And this is me, and I remember this. We are using a Rokinon 14 millimeter with a booster on it. So a super extreme wide shot on a GH4. And this was just because the car is so small. So I needed a wide angle lens to get the certain shot. If you ask me today if I would have still used that same lens, no, because back then I didn't understand focal lengths. I just thought, oh, wide angle means I can see as wide as I want. But is that the actual lens I would use today for that shot? No, I would use something different.
What would you use then if you had to use now?
I'd use a 35, and I would rig the camera outside of the window that I'm leaning against to get back further to get a very similar shot. But it would make Shelby, the actress, it would make her face look less distorted and warped. And it would also give me a better out of focus depth of field bokeh in the back.
So Andrew Brown said that Jason can start in Breaking 3.
Oh my goodness. Man, Breaking, that was an interesting video. So we're back at Trace again. This is right before we have to fight the main Agent Zero?
No, I can't remember the number now.
I can't remember the number either. But yeah, me and Keith is over there. He's the Assassin's Game / Maximilian director. He's the one holding the elite sword there. Yeah, this is where we get our butts thoroughly whooped. And here's Keith and me, and Don Nottage. He played the doctor of David Tennant version of the doctor, and this is us in abandoned floor up in
Tyler Village.
And yeah, we've used that quite a bit.
Yep.
So this is that's a Came TV gimbal, and I don't remember who came up with this idea, but we have 4 car mounts suctioned onto the hood of a car, and we taped the gimbal down onto its own setup stand. Like the stand, oh gosh, guys, back then you needed your own stand to balance your gimbal. So we would place it on there because we wanted to see, could we actually create a gimbal car rig? Because this was when they first started to introduce the idea of using a remote control to be able to pan and tilt. So we wanted to see if it worked. And to show you how crazy those old school gimbals are, if you look at the top left of the handle, that blue thing, that's a battery. That's how that used to work. We don't have those 18650 batteries anymore. We had to use those LiPo batteries.
Yeah, and all the wires are loose all over the places.
Yep. Yeah, it's not waterproof at all. This is us at the Cleveland Asian Festival, and we brought back the Trace characters, and this is me having a fighting skit with Justin, and this was also the time that I got back roundhouse kicked in the eye, and not this moment, but later in the fight, and I literally felt so much pressure hit my eye, but I kept going. Nobody knew that I was like kind of struggling to see. But the show must go on, and we kept fighting. This is from 1337, and this is me directing Brian Stowell and Shelby for this specific scene, and we have Jordan Graytech over there, our sound guy for the day. And fun story about this picture is we got kicked off that very specific spot because we didn't realize that we went over to the neighbor's property line, and they came over and told us, yo, you can't be here. And we're just like, oh crap, we're sorry. And we left to the other side. And this is at the green screen studio. I am upside down, and that is Stephen Morgan and Joe Yost, and Rebecca, I believe, is sitting there. And this was part of this little Instagram thing that I did where I walked on my hands across the green screen. And yes, Joe and Stephen are on those hoverboards that you don't see anymore.
This is because we actually overpassed our crowdfunding phases, right?
No, I think we're actually just cleaning.
We're just cleaning? I thought it was... Oh, yeah, that's right.
Still at the Creative House Studios green screens stage, and this is where we were shooting the car scenes. So
I came out really good. I was very impressed.
It did really well. I probably could have done better now that I look back at it, but it was a learning process. Okay. I had to become a VFX artist during this whole time. So yeah. This is still 1337. We are doing the first major action sequence, and I don't specifically know which shot we were going for or why I'm looking at this one. It looks like that looks like the 135 millimeter Vivitar lens. So I think we were shooting the shot where the three heroes are coming up to the main guy and saving him. I'm really surprised I remember all that. No, that was the Olympus lens. Sorry, 40 to 150. That is Stephanie Sachik, or Stephanie Barber, Stefania, and she is performing her extremely badass moment where she takes out that guy without even looking. Oh yeah, I remember this picture. So the question was, this was one of the first Kickstarter things that I backed. It was a follow focus.
Yep.
Unit. I can't remember what it's called now.
They don't like me anymore, so
oh crap. It was a really awesome idea. It was really awesome. So basically, guys, it was a follow focus motor. It was really, really small. Like the actual motor itself was basically the width of your thumb, maybe a little bit thicker, and it was a rod. So it didn't have this big bulky thing on the side. Really awesome design. It was actually quite silent. The battery on the bottom was bulky, but that was version 1. But this was, I guess, my entrance into YouTube gear reviews, because when I looked at it and I was like, why did this person design it this way? Because the problem was, guys, with this specific unit, when you're pulling focus, it ramps up. So the harder you press the trigger, the faster it goes. And you would think that that's a good idea, but it wasn't, because unless you're using a cinema lens that has 320 degrees of rotation and your barrel is 100 millimeters wide, that is the only time you would ever want something like this. A lot of us as independent filmmakers were not, because we're right there is the Voigtlander 17.5 millimeter. And when you only have maybe 120 degrees of rotation. So having something like that just wasn't ideal for the mass market that wanted this follow focus. And I remember us telling him, it'd be probably good if you could do it linear, if you could just have a linear speed, like slow, medium, fast, because a lot of people are using photography lenses and not cinema lenses. So I think like back then in 2015, I was already starting to think like a gear reviewer.
Yeah, I think their new version have a remote control and everything else, which actually quite nice.
Oh, that's good.
The owner's name is Bob. I just can't remember the focus system.
Mm-hmm.
So
it was really
Nick
good design.
Nick has a question here. He can ask you while we go to the picture.
Cool.
This is about you do a lot both behind and in front of the camera. What is your preference to being an actor opposed to being behind the scenes?
I hate to say this. I like both. I like being behind the camera because when nothing makes me happier than when Johnny and Keith look at a shot and they're like, oh, that's it. Like that's what I want, or that looks cool, or that looks, when their ideas get translated to me and then I have to go out and do whatever their idea is and try to figure it out. And if they are happy with it, makes my job that much better. Flip side, if I'm the actor doing some cool stuff and then the camera captures it and I look at it, I'm like, oh, wow, that's so cool. So I like both sides. Both sides are very fun.
Yeah.
This was the first showing of 1337 because 1337 was broken up into 2 production runs. The first original movie was only 45 minutes long. And then when we got a deal for distribution and representation for the movie, they said it needed to be longer. So then I went back into production and we shot the remaining 30 minutes in 4 production days. And that's when people noticed that I changed as a director, because the first I changed. Yeah, it was just so much easier to direct the last 4 days because a lot of things were just easier for me to plan out, as well as like understanding how to move the entire crew and actors to get everything done. And I did take a note from Johnny when he said, you should delegate, because at one point I said, okay, you take this camera, go get those shots. You take this camera, you go get those shots. At that point in time, I hadn't learned in the beginning, but I learned. I have a second.
Noticed, there's 2 of me in there.
I can't see. I don't think
I was superimposed behind Andy and also right behind Todd.
Oh, yep. my Zoom camera thing is over on the right side.
Wang. I think Wang took the picture of this.
Yeah, I think he did. He takes a picture of all of it.
Yeah.
What was this from? Is this from Indie Club? No.
This is the performance committee meeting for the Cleveland Asian Festival.
Oh, that's right. I was one of the guest judges.
Yep.
For the K-pop dance crew competition. That was a lot of fun. Unfortunately for me, I didn't realize that the K-pop routines were all just routines that have been done. They were just doing it. I thought they actually created each one, so I wasn't. But it was cool. Oh, okay. This is from Inner Self. So this is me with my co-stars, Misha and Sean. No, Steven. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Steven. I wanted to call him Junior for a second, but no, that's his character name. Yeah, this is us recording. You can see Arya in the back. I don't know if you guys can see him, but he's the music composer who composed all the music that we sang to. And I believe we were doing the rap track, all 3 of us.
Yeah, kind of funny because after the movie, Misha became very popular and doing a lot of music videos and singing.
That's true. Yeah, because he told Johnny, "I can't sing, man. Like, don't make me sing." He's awesome. I love that guy. Here we are at the Cleveland Zoo, Metro Park Zoo. We were able to shoot there for a whole day, and this is the part where Misha kind of has a breakdown in the scene. And yes, I am wearing a very Enter the Dragon look. This is possibly the song that most people kept singing, the Good Ed, Bad Ed.
Yeah.
So this is me as Bad Ed with a hairspray and some eyeliner. And the funny thing is I was already used to doing something like this because Johnny wanted to shoot it in such a way where it looks like there was a good Ed and a bad Ed kind of singing the songs. But if you guys have watched my Christmas videos, you'll notice that I was already very good at cloning myself and talking to myself and looking at myself. So basically, we were able to do this shot. And at the very end, you can look at how the both of them were just staring at each other as they sang against each other.
You can see the movie Inner Self on Amazon Prime for free right now. So check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh and
yeah, this is still Inner Self, and my hair is ridiculously long because Johnny did not allow me to cut my hair. I do not like my hair that long.
All right. Michael Stafford is on Facebook. He asked this question about marketing. What are your marketing strategies when promoting your films to an audience?
My marketing strategy is different now, but there really is no marketing strategy because I haven't had anything to really market. But what I want to do now is a lot of the films, like now that Assassin's Code is making its way out, and Assassin's Game, and then Immortal Code. Mortal Kombat is, sorry. I know them as their real original title names. I don't know them as their renamed names, but now that those movies are coming out, like I'm going to talk to Keith, I'm going to talk to Johnny, and I want to see like if we can walk through some scenes. Like I want to educate people with how did we light that bar scene, or how did we achieve certain shots for that moment. I want to like break down these snippets because I feel like marketing through education is probably better than just telling people watch this film, watch this film, watch this film. If I can give you guys something and give you something to learn from, then you can watch the whole movie and it makes a lot more sense. And of course, like as the movie gets older and older, we'll keep talking and we'll keep breaking it down and just really giving you guys an idea like how did we film this? Like how did we pull it off? Because it's a lot. There's a lot of action. This was the final day of 1337. These were all the actors that remained for the last day. The funny thing is you're looking at the ground, there's leaves, but the day before it snowed. This was a freak accident. And Johnny, again, was my executive producer. He called me up and he says, what are you going to do? Are we going to do this or are we not? Because there's snow on the ground and we weren't expecting it to snow. And somehow I was like, let's go for it. And it was actually the best possible thing that could have happened for the film, because I was able to make it look like they were running down from a mountain where there was already snow on top of it until they got to the lower part of the mountain where there was no snow. So it was actually a blessing in disguise. But this was the final team.
This was when we have a bunch of people pretend to be other more people, right? We duplicate a few actors.
Yeah, we only had, I think, only two stunt actors there, and I had to place them in certain ways so that we could multiply them and make them play multiple bad guys.
And Matt got hit in his face at one point. This too, I remember.
Yeah, that was the only time we had to call medic.
And by the way, we do have a medic. He's actually standing behind Peter, right on the what's a golf cart? Yeah, it's a go kart.
Yeah, go kart. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our medic on site. So every time we film a feature film, we always have that.
Yeah.
So we had a question. Fan Mei Hu asked this question: have we made any money yet for any of the feature films?
Yeah, we've made some money. I guess I'm a very lazy in that respect. It's like I put it out there and I'm just gonna let it do its thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Fan Mei Hu, nice to meet you. I remember your name handle from my YouTube channel. So thank you. Thank you for stopping by.
Same here. I mean, my previous movie, I all have made some money, and then currently waiting for Immortal Combat to see some money. Keep movie Assassin Games coming out in June 16. Hopefully he will see some money there too.
Yep, absolutely. This is from Inner Self again. And this is me completely ripping off some sort of anime ninjutsu. Because I think Johnny just told me look mystical. And I was like, okay. This was from Maximilian. And we were shooting in Matt Cain's little duplex. And I believe this was one of the times where Keith was asking me, like, could you get this kind of shot? Because he actually has a cameo. So I'm showing him his shot on a Lilliput A7S monitor.
I'm going to fast forward to certain part of the scene because of
time, yeah. Okay, this is from Immortal Combat or Wuxia The Code. This was the day where we shot in torrential rain. Like you can't tell from this photo, but it is raining super, super hard. And we are out there with our GH5s capturing this fight scene. And this is one of the, this was really fun actually. And I have to admit, like I wasn't too hot on the idea in the beginning, but Johnny, it's okay. Johnny said, I wanna do a fight scene in the rain, and Schollard, really awesome guy, he built a rain machines that sprayed water just right. And this was one of those moments where I didn't realize that I did this, but you see those two lights up there that's catching the rain. Key tip, guys, if you are shooting in the rain, you need that backlight. You cannot shoot it at the actors from the front. You need it from the back. And those were actually two GVM 520Ss set to 4400K for maximum brightness. And this was the one and only time I used a wireless remote to turn those off because they were battery operated.
Huh.
And there's me catching that shot, not in the rain. And then that's Sean catching another shot. Same. Oh no, I'm over there. This is same scene, same rain scene.
And also Jason shooting keep looking at Ben on the ground.
Yeah.
Pauline got a question. You prefer dancing, filming, or acting?
I'm sorry, all three. I love them all for different reasons. And I'm a what you would say like lifelong learner, which shout out to Mr. Hang 562. And I'm also just I love experiencing everything. That's just me. This is from Rumble TV, and this is the only time you're going to see me shoot with a Sony camera. And this is me showing the director Keith one of the shots during a fight sequence, and it looks like he's clapping. So I think he really liked that.
He enjoyed it. That's why he's clapping.
Yeah.
Fast forward a little bit more.
Yep, still more. Inner Self, Wu Sha Tu, my film, 1337. NAB last year. Thank you for Johnny. He was able to help me get to the NAB show. And it was probably one of the best experiences of my life, just getting to be there. I didn't get to see as many people. Johnny actually saw Curtis Judd, and I'm really, really jealous. Right? You saw him, right?
I saw him. I didn't know it was him until I realized, oh my God, he's so tall. Like,
yeah, oh man, like it was just really cool. Even meeting oh crap, what's his name? I probably shouldn't say now if I can't remember his name. I want to say it's Ted from Aperture.
Don't know. I don't know the person, unfortunately.
I think it was Ted. Ted Sims, I think is his name. Yeah.
You got it right. Ted Sims, yeah.
Seeing him in person was awesome, especially when he says, "Oh, hey, I know you." I was like, "What?"
Yeah, I was surprised too. B&H CEO president came to me and said, "Hi, like I know you." Like, what?
I know. I met Cheesy Cam. That was really cool. I met Ern and Darius Britt from D for Darius. That was really cool meeting him too. Really nice guys. Really nice guys.
Yeah, I was very happy to see it made Curtis. I'm like, oh my God, I'm following you all over the place and listen to everything because of you about what this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then this is my YouTube channel. All these, you can see how my thumbnails have changed throughout the years. Now they're a lot more colorful, and the reason I do it colorful, and if it works, I hope it does. If it doesn't, let me know. But the reason I'm doing color is because I want people to focus on specific words for what they are. Because back then, if you just saw, no more speed boosters, I would have highlighted no more so that you can actually really see that. And then you can differentiate what parts I actually wanted you to look at.
Yeah. So we're going to show a quick trailer of the Wu Sha Tu or Immortal Combat just because majority of the shot is done by you.
Oh, really?
I didn't even realize that until watching that, holy cow, everything was almost all of them done by you. So
wait, is this the distributor's trailer or your trailer?
No, not yet. That's they're gonna come. Super came out today, but I never got it yet. This is
gotcha.
Trailer I cut together.
All right.
Playing that before, John Sweeney. I got a question. Is there anything on set or post you guys can do?
Wait, can you ask that question?
Is there anything else? Anything on set or in post production that you guys cannot do? I cannot sing, that's for sure. Jason can sing.
Honestly, right now, I am looking for someone in post, but someone who also understands director of photography. Because the one thing that I really want to be able to do right now is creating virtual sets as a background plate. Because I can do all the foreground stuff, but it's the really good 3D set extensions that I can't do. I know how it's done, but I don't have the ability to create that environment with the Unreal Engine. So that's something that I would love to be able to have, is someone who's really well versed in creating 3D environments that we can composite into certain sequences.
So Plenty Park just make a comment. I really appreciate your TLDR format and always learning philosophy. Thank you for making such a great content. P.S. I want to see you more singing and dancing in your YouTube videos.
Dancing, yes. Singing, I'll have to figure out how can I incorporate it. But dancing, more dancing is coming.
All right, so I'm going to show the trailer for Immortal Combat. That's an official release name. Almost all of the shot in this one was DP by Jason, so you can probably enjoy his handiwork.
Check it out.
It's me, Cloud. Something happened. We need to meet.
411. What do they want with you? So the one who not only failed to find the green stone, but turned against us, now stands in our way. He's caused many problems dragging the elements into this. I want that code at any cost. My son's life depends on it.
Wood, fire, follow the mercenaries. They more than likely have Doc. Find out what Doc did to Cloud.
Are you covering for your friends?
They're not my friends. They never were.
Yeah, right.
It was just a job.
Traitors deserve to die. Slow and painful.
You tore apart your bioscanner and couldn't find the code. We know you have it. Where is it?
You'll never find it. It's not yours to have. The code belongs to the world.
No, the code belongs to Medican.
It's the code. A code that's engineered in a lab to produce clean air once released. Not meant for an individual, which is why Neil's bioscanner's overloading. He's dying.
Consider yourself lucky.
Lucky?
We're all replaceable. Don't forget that.
Why don't you mind your own business if you know what's good for you?
4-on-1? Not playing fair now.
That's it.
That's it. Fun story about that last part of the scene when you see Ben break the pool stick. I don't know if it was ever in the behind the scenes, but that thing hit me square in the crotch, right where it hurts. And all you could see here in the camera is keep going, keep going.
Well, you said ooh first before you said keep going, keep going.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It hurt so bad.
But again, we do have a medic there, but we could have stopped, but it was so cool shot too.
Yeah.
Behind the scene, everything. But again, I think really appreciate Jason you being here on board with me. Talking. We ran out of time today, really. But again, this is really great. Hopefully we can do it again in the future. But
thank you so much, Johnny, for having me, and of course having me work on your projects as well. So I want to, once Immortal Code gets out there, Mortal Kombat. Oh gosh,
Immortal Combat.
I'm just gonna call it the code. Once the code gets out there and we start getting some stuff, like I want to, I want to have you on my channel and let's interview you and let's break some things down. Like how did we achieve certain things? So we can just keep teaching people. That's I think that's what we basically want to do. Just keep teaching.
I have like about 9 different behind the scenes already done for this, so that'll be something cool to do.
Oh yeah, no, we can definitely we can even show how that works. So
cool. Thank you again for being here.